So, recently there has been a lot of articles about how young people are in the dating game, and in particular there has been a lot of articles about how young men are dating. So here's two examples of them. What I want to talk about is the fact that Pew Research have released a new study that indicates that 63% of men are dating, which is a crazy large number. And when you compare it to the amount of women who aren't dating, it's quite a big difference. So one reason why there's a giant contrast between men and women dating could be the fact that a lot of women have turned lesbian, but I actually don't believe that's true. An explanation for this could be the fact that the 2080 rule is true. For you who aren't familiar with it, it's an idea that around about 80% of women are dating the top 20% of men, which might sound weird, but I'll explain it. So, the idea comes from the fact that looking into the biology of how men and women are dating, and we see that women are much more selective when it comes to choosing partners. Looking at data that's coming from these two sites, we can see that women tend to pass on 95% of people in dating sites, whilst men pass on around about 50%, whilst accepting the same amount of people. Another explanation could be the fact that women can't correctly rate. Looking at this graph, we can see that men rate women at around about 20% average looking, 6% are really nice looking, and 26% are very ugly. This graph follows quite a nice distribution. It's around about the same amount that are more attractive than less attractive. There's a big contrast between the men's graph and the women's graph, because women have decided to rate around about 80% of men below average looking. So what you find is that they think that 27% of men are very, very ugly, and another 31% are actually quite ugly as well. You only find 7% of men who are above average looking, which is quite weird, because technically there should be around about 50% that average, whilst there should also be 50% below. So it could be a case of women actually knowing that they're average looking, they're out in the market for average looking men, but they can't accurately rate people. So when they think they're looking for average looking men, it's actually quite a attractive man. So what you'll find is that a lot of these women are all searching for people they think on their level, whilst they're actually quite above. How attractive are you? Since you're watching my video, I'm going to make a few assumptions about it. And I'm going to say that you're probably not in the top 20%, because if you were, you would be out dating women, and you're probably also not in the bottom 20%, because then you wouldn't really be interested in these types of videos. So even though you're actually quite average looking, you will be rated low, because we know that women have a obscure way of rating men. I do want to point out that all hope isn't gone. There is opportunities to grow, and I'm going to release a few guides on this in the near future. So if you're interested, I'd tell you to, together with me, rally the Red Pill.